if you're a white male in America now, that's a bad thing to some mainstream media.
Yeah.
If you're diverse and different, you become on the pedestal now. So the roles have flipped. Now, how many men would be like, what can I do for my country? What can I do for my community? There's not that many left.
Yeah.
And it's our job to teach them how to be bold and have courage to become an important part of the family unit and their community and their country.
Hey, I want to welcome my good friend John Grdina to Last in Line podcast. He has served as an educator for the past 17 years. John's been in coaching, obviously teaching. He's got a master's in education, is an ultra endurance athlete, so likes the extreme running scenarios. He's the founder of 40 Days of Deliverance, which is a program to improve individuals' minds, bodies, and spirits. He just recently released his first book called Freedom to Ascend, and he shares personal journeys, uplifting experiences, inspirational stories from people that he knows, and just shows that there's hope out there, and he shares that with you in his latest book. Today we talk about being a change driver and some of the key ingredients to men being better men, leading better lives. Welcome, John Grdina, to Last in Line podcast. John Grdina, thank you. It's been a little bit. We've been talking about it, but man, welcome to Last in Line.
Hey, pleasure to be here, John. Thank you for having me, man.
Man, it's been good to get to know you, brother. You've been in education for 17 years. You've been a coach. You went kind of, from the baseball field. Now you're coaching golf, I guess. And then you're doing some coaching, professional coaching just on the side as far as kind of performance, mindset, life coaching, that kind of thing. But most importantly, and most recently, somebody's a first-time author. Would that be
That's
you?
Right. Absolutely. It just came in yesterday, hot off the press.
Your book, Freedom to Ascend. Give us a little bit. I don't want to give too much because we need to go out and get it, but hold it up if you've got it. I bet if you're like me, you've got 4 or 5 copies ready to go right there. So tell us why, and then tell us a little bit about it. Just an idea.
Okay. Well, the seed was planted in about 2010 to just start writing. And I'm going to be honest, everything has been God inspired.
Yeah.
So I wrote a book or a manuscript called ABCs to Life. And I had this guy read it, who was the author and a speaker. And he's like, yeah, it was okay. So then I had doubt. I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm just going to shelf it. I'm not even going to look at it. I printed it out and I was done. So then I got the call again. I was administering an ACT, and we as teachers were not allowed to have any electronic devices. So I just felt compelled to start writing. I'm like, I need to finish this book. So I kind of rewrote it. It was called Molding Minds. And it was a blend between me and my buddy, who's also an educator, when we first started our career together in 2005. So something happened just a couple months ago in December of 2021, and I couldn't publish that book. Something happened to him. He didn't do anything wrong. I just couldn't publish it. Okay. So I had a meeting with my publisher and my editor, and they both said, just rewrite it, what you had without him in there, and do your thing. Tell your story. Just you. Tell the story about you. So I wrote 20,000 words in the month of January.
Whoa.
And I also wrote a devotional book during my 40 Days of Deliverance program that I run. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was the most intentional I've been in my entire life was the beginning of 2022. Okay. So I want everyone to know this right now. Every listener, when you're up against the wall and you have your dream and you're like, I got my dream job, I got my dream girl, whatever happens, and you feel like it just falls to pieces, that's when the breakthrough happens. If you decide to go forward, that's when the magic occurs, because you got to have the fortitude to understand that you're going to get knocked in the teeth. If you go into life thinking that's going to be easy and then it's going to get just, let's just say more comfortable. I hate that word, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And things in your life are just going to go the way you thought they were going to go. You're lying to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So this book is a testament that you have to go through the fire of adversity to have prosperity and freedom to actually do your mission in life. And I know I've been commissioned by the Lord to write this book.
Yeah.
And the book really is about giving people hope. It really is all about stories from past students and people I've worked with in my life, that you have to understand that if you don't have a mission in life, then you don't wake up early. You don't wake up early. You don't get excited about what you're doing in your life, and you don't have fulfillment. So this book has strategies and action steps at the end of each chapter from what I have learned in my walk of life to give people hope.
Yeah. And I would say, like you said, if you don't have a mission, you don't have a fire in your belly, because that fire in your belly actually gets you through some adversity and gets you pushing past like that point of no return. You said you almost felt like you were at a breaking point. That's when you kind of rise up from the ashes and go forward, when you've got that fire in your belly. And I'm glad you did it, man. It looks like you had several opportunities to kind of check out and not do it. Like there were some potholes along the way, man. But dude, what's your, okay, give us one little, before we dive into sort of the main crux of the conversation on the series we're starting, and you get to be the first episode of this series.
Appreciate it.
Man, talk to us. Tell me what was the funnest, if that's even, I guess that's a word, you're a teacher, the funnest chapter to write of that book for you?
I'd have to say The Awakening.
Okay.
And it was awesome because last night, the guy who kind of lit the fire in my belly was here at my house last night before he left to go down to Florida this morning. And it's all about how I had a transformation in my life from him just talking about what he has already accomplished in his life. And he's a CEO of a company. He travels all over the world, his family, and he's telling me all these stories. And I literally just sat back and was like, I feel like I haven't done anything in my life.
Yeah.
I had the gut check. What have I done? So he goes, you got to read this book, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Have you read that one, John?
No, but I know who he is. Intense.
Super intense. So I had to overcome some fears that I had in my life. And one of them, just being stupid, was just to finish a half marathon that I always had a dream of doing back in the day, but I thought I wasn't good enough to do it. So I grappled within myself reading this book, Can't Hurt Me. Then I read Living with a SEAL with Jesse Itzler, who had David Goggins live with him for a month. Yeah. And I started putting these pieces together of, you have to be uncomfortable, but be mission driven to live somewhat of a purposeful life. So that was 2019, February. So I had a new standard. You're going to wake up and run. I don't care what the weather is outside, unless it's an extreme thunderstorm. And you're going to start getting in shape. You're going to start waking up early, and you're going to start being on fire. And I learned something, John. I learned this. If you win the day before people get up in the morning,
of course,
guess what happens? You already have this feeling of accomplishment.
Yes.
So by the time I get to work, I pray on the way to work. I get to work and I'm like, you know what? I'm always feeling good.
Can't hurt me.
Can't hurt me. That's right. You can't. I like that. You can't hurt me. You know what though? I became more bulletproof in the sense of my mindset. That's what it did for me. And this book is just another testament to what you can achieve if you actually stay focused on not myself. Well, I gotta preface it. There's two ways it has to happen. You have to take care of you as a man first. Yeah. You have to. And once you do that, then you can serve others. Then you can serve your family.
Absolutely.
So that's
what a segue. What a segue, brother. We might want to do a podcast episode on that topic. Oh, wait, here we go. It's gonna be called Change Drivers. And I got a guy here that's driving change even as we speak, with the way he's, putting the written word on paper and motivating and doing the 40 days that he does, that empowers people and encourages people, inspires people. So you're a perfect way to start this. And I have a subtitle to this other than Change Drivers. I've got Better Man, Better Life. So you just talked about how we need to become a better man, and we need to take care of ourselves, and then we can serve others and we can be better for other people, but it starts with us. So I've talked a lot about, I hear a lot of podcasts and talk about men and what we got to do to be resilient and powerful. And we do. And this might repeat some of that even, but it's probably worth repeating. So I'm going to read a stat to you real quick because when I started thinking about change drivers and who drives change and change agents, all these buzzwords, and then what is change and how do there's got to be a need for it, first of all. And then we've got to create these new habits. So to create a new habit, it says, okay, from healthline.com, takes an average of 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic. That's more than I thought, but it's still, that's a lot, right? But I thought it was like, I don't know, 11 or so days in a row of doing something and it becomes a habit. But 66 days for you and I, or for guys listening that think that they've reinvented the wheel and they have this magnificent new strategy, and I'm going to go out for 30 days and I'm going to do this. Well, you're halfway there, right? Yeah, this says 66 days. What are your thoughts on that? Like 66 days for a behavior to become automatic.
I would agree that, me personally, I believe I've read that stat before, John, and I'm just going off experience. I think doing my 40 Days of Deliverance program, which is all biblically based, I would say at least 40 days. I'm going to be honest. And I'm just going off of what I've read. So let's say it's 40 to 60, whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Between that range. Okay. What I have learned is people, they get momentum. It's like a honeymoon period. You get momentum, excited the first week. I've witnessed this in 40 days. Okay. With people, you get excited, something new. You get to be around more people. You get to do something new. And then guess what? Then you fall back to your old habits after like 2-3 weeks, because the excitement rubs off. It's done. But they don't have a strong why of what they're doing it for. And that's why it falls off. So let's pick an example. Yeah. I say I want to lose 10 pounds. I just feel like I need to lose 10 pounds. What they do is they get so fixated on just that number every day. They're literally on the scale 2-3 times a day. And like, it's not working. They're already looking at the result and not the process. That's where people fall apart. They want they want quick satisfaction. And that's not how it works.
Yeah. But if they thought about the 10 pounds would equate to the pants fitting better, or me living maybe a couple years longer, that might be enough for staying power, right? But if it's to your point, if it's just a number to say I lost 10 pounds, that's not going to create the consistency that you need for change. So I want to throw these words at you real quick, because I came up with 3 that I think are change drivers that have to be in our DNA, right? For us to drive significant change that's sustainable. All right. So I have courage, I have consistency, and I have resilience. These are obviously big power words, right? And there's probably 1,000 more that we could have picked. And I'll even ask you what 2-part question. Yeah. What do you think of those words and kind of what they mean to you? And then maybe give me 1 or 2 that we left out that you think should be on that list.
Discipline. You need on there.
Yeah. And consistency and discipline, I think, go hand in hand probably.
Yeah. Like, so I would agree. Yeah. You could interchange them. So like, for example, I'm consistent. I've been running a mile every day or more every day since the beginning of this year. And I'm not going to, it's about this. It's not about the mile. It's about say, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. Okay. Yeah. And I play mind games with myself because I wanted to see if I could do it. Yeah. So the consistency is like, okay, I could do something habitually day after day after day. Okay. The discipline really comes into the mindset of, hey, buddy, you said you were going to do this. You damn well better do it.
Yeah.
That is the true. They're layers, right? They're layers.
Yeah.
So courage, John. I mean, I like the word courage because I feel like, well, man is fallible, okay? And we're weak and we don't have a lot of strength, but people don't understand courage comes from the Lord. How do I get strength? I must be delivered each morning, each midday, and each night by his strength to have courage, to be bold, to have values for what I live for. So that's a great word. And then your last one was
resilience.
Resilience. So resilience is kind of exactly how we started this conversation. You're going to get punched in the face. You're going to have setbacks, potholes. Do you have enough of a strong enough why of drive to forge through and break those barriers down or setbacks? Or are you weak in the sense of your mindset and will to not go through them because you just don't have the confidence? You have doubt. That's a big word. Doubt.
And I wonder how much, we got to take, if we're taking ownership of our role as a man, and if we truly are the right way, then these words would mean something to us to a point of becoming us. So then we don't give ourselves an out when it becomes to this resilience thing. Like you said, when we've got opportunity to kind of tuck and run or to fold or to turn around and go back because it was too hard. Like we can't give ourselves that option. That's my thing is with resilience is if it's in you, you don't have a plan B. Like no matter what comes at you, like you're going, like I know military guys, like when they have a mission, do they nix the mission just because they're getting shot at? No, they expect that. And they know that there's going to be this, like, we're doing this anyway. I don't care what's coming at us because this is what we've been told to do. So in our lives as men, when we've been given the opportunity to steward over a family, a wife, children, a home, a job, like we've been given the keys to this. We shouldn't have a plan B. Talk to me about why guys feel like they have a plan B, an out, a hall pass for quitting.
Well, I think a lot of it is it's learned helplessness. Okay. And I will tell you this. I have learned that a strong group of men to be surrounded by is a key part of being a strong man yourself. So here's an example. I have a wonderful father. He raised me the right way. Number one. Okay. Number two, currently I'm part of a Sons of Thunder group. Okay. Well, I have a bunch of men across the country. We meet every Wednesday night. They keep you accountable to the word, to yourself, to your family. And I think the last thing is, besides having a strong group of men around you, is that, men in general, if you watch TV or mainstream media, are taught to be, it's okay to be weak,
aloof,
let the girls, and this is nothing against, for the sexists here, but like they have been discriminated for. If you're a white male in America now, that's a bad thing to some mainstream media. If you're diverse and different, you become on the pedestal now. So the roles have flipped. If you look back, like in World War I, World War II, I was a history major, so I always like to go back in history. Look at these men back then. They would come out 18 years old, ready to serve. Yes, sir. What can I do for my country, John? Right. Now, how many men would be like, what can I do for my country? What can I do for my community? There's not that many left. And it's our job to teach them how to be bold and have courage to become an important part of the family unit and their community and their country. They have to. We have to help them.
I agree. And you hit the nail on the head with, I think we've allowed sort of the puppeteer to be, the puppet master to be society, to be culture, pop culture, to be media, mainstream media. We guys have just sort of, I don't know, dumbed it down enough to where they just kind of fall in line with what society tells them now is cool. Now it's acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can be whatever gender, you can
Mm-hmm.
be timid and weak and fear. You can be this, you can be a beta guy in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship. It's cool for your wife to be the alpha in the relationship, which I agree that the husband and wife make joint decisions. I mean, this is
Mm-hmm.
a partnership. I get that.
Absolutely.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what wives don't want. They don't want to have to be the leader of the household in certain ways of protecting,
Mm-hmm.
providing, taking care, just total, the dominion sovereignty component. And that's why I love Ryan Mickler so much. Like he,
Yeah.
you know him, like
Oh, yeah.
he talks a lot about that. And oh, by the way, I bet if we polled a lot of women, they'd say, yeah, we want the guy to be like protect, provide, preside, not
Mm-hmm.
the feminist group that says, oh, we can do that too. I don't think or innately that they're wired to want that. So that's my soapbox. I get allowed one of those an episode. I get allowed a soapbox an episode. So what are some other like things that you think, or let's go this route.
Mm-hmm.
Give us an idea in your life, maybe now, how maybe courage, discipline, resilience, like where do you see yourself kind of shine in those areas the most?
I think I've become extremely disciplined in the past couple of years, and it's all about strategies. All right. So here's one thing that's helped me stay really focused on my intentionality is I set a race. I call it, this is the 4 quarters. Right. So I set a race on my calendar every 4 months. Okay. 3 to 4 months. So then I know I have a script to follow and I become disciplined to follow it. And you know what happens when that race, like for example, last weekend I ran 40 miles.
Yeah.
So that was my big, hairy, audacious goal that was set on January 1. So then I was on a mission. This is what I had to do. I wrote my plan and I stuck to it. And that, you know what? People have to understand this. You're not going to be perfect in the plan, but if you have no plan, you will fail.
Yeah.
You need to hear that really clearly, because I think sometimes people don't really understand how important it is to break down your goals, but then stick to the goals. All right. So guess what? I was successful in accomplishing that goal. Now I go to the Mid-State Mile, which is in June in Tennessee. So like the area that I'm really excelling in is discipline. Okay. But also intentionality. And I try to be very present. Like when I go to work, John, I went from the high school to the middle school. I'm working 2 to 3 times harder now, but guess what? It's all for a purpose.
Yeah.
I'm so focused on getting these kids to excel in different areas that it's taking more time throughout my day to do that. And guess what? It's okay, because you know what? I love to serve with an open, grateful heart.
Hey, do yourself a favor when you get done listening to this episode and go check out my sponsors on their websites. Those links will be in the show notes, but I want to thank the following for supporting Last in Line podcast. I want to thank Armored Nation Coffee. I want to thank the folks at Do Work That Matters. I want to thank Kevin Fulton over at Lead Like Lions. Thank you to Gridiron Coffee. And thank you to Cowboy Revolution Apparel. Those are just a few, and we're adding to the list, but these are ones who have started with us at ground zero and are sticking with us till the end, hopefully. So go check out their website, get some of their products. Now back to the show.
So I think for men, what they need to hear is this: is you need to go and have a reflection period of what you really want to do to have fulfillment. That'd be my first step. What fulfills you? So in my 40 Days of Deliverance program, we talk about that. We create a mission statement. We create a vision statement. And then we create our BHAGs, our big, hairy, audacious goals.
Yeah.
So John, if I was going to build a house, what's the first thing I'd do?
You'd pour the slab.
Before that,
you'd get permits.
Before that.
You would
You're
draw
there.
plans up, right?
Draw the plans up.
Yeah.
There's no difference. Well, us men, you know what we do? I'm going to be totally honest. And it's both male and female. We have allowed the standard to go from here to here.
Yeah.
And we have allowed our ears to hear things from media and social media to make us be distracted and have doubt. So you know what I do? I don't watch TV. I really don't. I very rarely watch TV. So the first thing I would tell a strategy is this: turn your TV off. Quit being distracted. Have some time to yourself. Read some good books or listen to a podcast that makes you have clarity of why you're here on this earth.
Yeah.
People say, I'll figure it out later. Well, that's bullcrap. Why are you waiting so long? What are you waiting for? You have gifts and talents that God gave you. So why are we waiting I'll wait till I'm 40 or I'll wait till I'm 50. And then next thing you know, you're retiring from a crappy job you had your entire life, and your circle of friends sucks because you're complacent with, all the negative Nancy's in your life.
Yeah. Let me jump in there for a second, because I have a question for you as you're talking. Back to this whole why thing. Guys don't realize that there's generations behind them that this is going to impact. Guess what? My kids watch what I do more than they listen to what I say. Mm-hmm. So if you're setting that standard, you use the word standard, we've lowered our standards. So guess what? We're showing the next generation that it's okay to do that. And guess what? Next time, it might even get lower with them. With each generation, it might get lower. Then where does that leave us? So you talk about that, like what we're showing our kids whenever we have this apathy, or we have this, I'll get to it later, or we can't find this fulfillment driver. If we're talking about change drivers, how do we up the ante a little bit so that those that see us take notice?
Well, I just think you have to be a beacon of hope, as an educator, as a coach. I think you have to be, it's almost like that firm but fair way approach. Like just as you as a father, like you have a standard and you want your kids to emulate you, right? Yeah. So it's no different
in some ways.
Well, yeah. We're not. You're right. It's okay.
You.
I agree, because there's areas we could all be better in.
Yeah.
But I would say this: like, as long as if your heart's in the right area,
right?
Okay, and you're laying tracks. I call it in my book. I talk about what they are is you're laying bricks. Okay, every day. If you're laying bricks every day, you're stacking bricks.
Yeah.
You're gonna build success, and you're gonna have people attracted to that. All right, as long as you do it in a loving way. But if you're just ripping people apart, like there's some people who are successful, but they're big a-holes.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm not gonna say names. You know who I'm talking about.
Of course.
All right, but what does that serve? So if I'm this impressionable young man or a man, and I hear someone talking down to me and degrading me, why would I want it? Why would I want to be like that? I want people to give me hope, right? I want people to be a light bearer, and I want to emulate. And this goes back to the root of what I do is I want to imitate Christ. Okay. Christ was so bold. He was so powerful in his words and the way he did the Father's will. He was the Word in flesh. So that is the perfect man and the perfect example of how to live by. So why do we have to make any man, any of us or anyone else on this planet who put him on a pedestal? You could look at their actions and say, wow, that's a right way to do things, but we can't give idol to them.
Right.
We can't do that.
Right.
But going back to what you say, John, how can I act in a manner of valor and respect and have courage to show men how to get it done?
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's really simple. You got to give them time. You have to, I'm telling you, I work with so many kids, and what they need is love, support, and your time.
Yeah.
And if you give those three things to them, you are planting seeds of hope, of prosperity, and a future.
Yeah. And and it goes back again to that word, that consistency word, because kids, I think, gravitate to stability and security. What they know, like, I don't want my kids to have to get up every morning and wonder what dad's going to be like today, or wonder, is dad going to, what's dad doing in the morning first thing? They already know what I'm doing at an hour before everybody gets up. So, I guess my whole point there was to dads that are listening, and we don't have to always get honed in on dads, but I feel like, man, we have the ability to create such a big footprint behind us that outlives us through our children. And if we're bringing it and we're flexing those muscles of consistency, security, stability, resilience, discipline, like if we're every day on a regular basis doing the right reps in those categories, man, it's going to happen. And after 66 days, like we said earlier, it's going to be automatic. And so if they can automatically expect that, and I'm automatically doing it, like, I think that creates something in them that says, dude, that's just our standard. That's just what we do. So that's what I think men need to think more about, is the standard we're creating. What are you proud of? Like, what are you, as a, relationships, fatherhood, career, like, what are your kids, if I were to sit them down right now, what can they count on when it comes to you?
Well, they say dad wakes up first out of everyone in the house every day.
Right.
They know I pray first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
They know I go for a run every morning. They know they know that I love to help people. They know that. I coach all my kids. So, I coached basketball this year for the first time. Never done that before. I coach track. I coach baseball, and I get to be a witness to them. Like I said, to give them something that all of us need, is that time, love, and support. Right. So if you sat down with all my children, okay, they would say that John is a giver. 100%. He loves to give his time to people because he knows that they may not say this is deep, but they would say it like this. They know that he loves to make people better. That's what it is. That's probably the most simplistic way. And those people who are in my circle, who I've been with in 40 Days of Deliverance, and they'll tell you the same thing, because I sacrifice my time to you. Once you get in my circle, John, I sacrifice my time to help make you have a vision for what you were destined to do in life.
Yeah.
And
that sounds like an investment. Yeah. That sounds like you're making investments in people without that self-serving initiative of something in return. And that's what a true giver really is. Like, when you're giving with no expectation in return, like, I think that is servant leadership. I think that's just the right heart, like we said earlier. And like you said, like, if we could get that recipe figured out throughout the country and the world, man, I think we would definitely see a facelift in society and in men, especially, because as the men go, the world will follow. Yeah. And so, man, I guess, so your book is Freedom to Ascend. And you mentioned that there's some stories, and it's a hope-filled inspiration, and it's got some kind of challenges in there, like some practical application in there. What do you see, like, if you were to kind of draw out on paper and say, this is what I wanted this book to accomplish, what would that be if you could fill in that blank, as far as down road, fast forward a year and there's thousands of copies out there? What do you feel like you want the feedback to be about it?
I want people to say, thank you for lighting the fire under me to become the person who I always doubted. So if a person, and I know this is going to happen because the vision has already been given to me, that people will come back and say, if I didn't read that book, I wouldn't have actually started taking action to start living my life the way I was supposed to live. That's huge. That's huge. Okay. And that's a heavy responsibility, that when I wrote this, it was literally a guide to help you excel in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. And does it have all the answers? No. But guess what? Let's talk about the one word we know we have to actually improve our lives. It's action.
Mm-hmm.
We need to work. We need to be intentional, and we have to actually have that work ethic to lay those bricks to start having success. And I'll read you this one quote, and this is exactly what we were talking about. So this is my last chapter. It's called The Last Line. You like that?
Last line. There we go.
No, and so
I get no royalties from that whatsoever.
It's not the last in line. It's
I know,
the last line. And it's funny because I wrote this before I even met you, John, but this is how God works.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Batterson wrote this.
Mm.
Our date of death is not the date etched on our tombstone. It's the day we stop dreaming is the day we start dying. So how powerful is that, right?
So true.
So let me read just one little paragraph, right? So reflecting on life and the velocity at which it moves during our existence, we know we only have a short time before our flesh expires. Well, in this world, we have to raise the next generation with knowledge and wisdom. We must live daily to educate our children, our youth, our younger coworkers, and everyone who in our lives that we intersect with, to leave them with more successful and fortuitous path than we lived. Our objective then is to teach the next generation the methods in which the world operates and how to maximize the gifts that they have been given for others. That's what it's about.
We just talked about. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, John. You know,
that's awesome, man. Well, give our audience, give them two things. You're talking to a room full of guys. Okay.
Yeah.
We got thousands of guys you're talking to right now. Maybe someday. But what do we need to stop doing as guys? And then what do we need to start doing?
I'd say stop doubting yourself. I'm going to be 100% honest. I think a lot of the times why we don't take action in our life is because we have a doubt that we're not good enough to do it. So I think the one thing, if I would give everybody who listens to this, don't think someone else is going to bear the cup and take care of it. Take care of business.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You need to take responsibility to show up to the arena of life, to be a man who feels fulfilled. So the question I would ask then is, do you feel fulfilled in everything you do every day? And if you say no, then you have to hit the pause button and you say, well, what is it I like to do? Right. And what is it that I can do that makes me feel good about what I'm doing? So there's the stop part. Stop doing the doubting, start doing the fulfillment part. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that looks like for you. It could be anything. Architecture. It could be serving as a police officer, it could be a teacher. It could be a coach, but if you go to bed every night, and I talked to, I'm not going to say who it was last night at my party, and they asked me this question. They said, I just don't get how you wake up early and do this every single day. And I said, and they said back to me, because I tried and I can't do it. And I said, let me ask you one question. Do you feel like you have a purpose every day you go to work? And they said, no, I don't. I said, that's your answer. If you don't want to go to work, why would you want to wake up early?
Yeah.
So don't worry about how much money you're going to make. Why don't you think about what I'm going to do to be fulfilled in my life? And once you figure out the fulfillment in your mission in life, guess what happens? You will want to wake up early. You'll want to get to the grind and you'll want to serve, because there's no better person to be in your life as a servant leader. And once that happens, then you've hit the pinnacle of life, because you understand it's not about you anymore. It's not about you anymore. It's about giving.
That's right. That's right. And man, I'm glad you said that about the whole stop doubting yourself, because I think that there's so many other byproducts and collateral effects of that. Like as men, if we're doubting ourselves, like it leads to the apathy. We don't try anything because we don't have faith in our abilities, or we avoid hard conversations with our kids or our wife. So we just don't talk. I mean, this whole stop stop having faith in yourself, or stop doubting yourself. Like that leads to all kinds of other byproducts. And so I love that you said that. And I think, we need to start. And I think Jesse Itzler, now that you mentioned him, I think he does something he's scared of every year or maybe every month, knowing him, but he said, like, find something that you're scared to do and do it. And so, I mean, I think those are some things that guys need to take away and really maybe start writing a new chapter. And it doesn't matter what the chapters look like before now. Like, I think now's the time for guys, because we can literally move the needle in culture more than it's ever been moved before, because I think the soil is so fertile that if enough of us do what you're talking about and take that step, stop being scared and just do it anyway, I think it's going to have a ripple effect. And then I think we might get this thing back on track and maybe right the ship. Right. So, man, you got any, first of all, give us a parting shot for the audience. Just one little quick feather in our cap, nugget, like stick of dynamite, and then tell us where we can find your book and your podcast and other resources.
My quote is exhaust all your gifts. That's my quote. And it really is that, because we have so much talent given to us by God that it's disrespectful to him to do nothing with that.
Boom. Yeah.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. And my best advice for everyone is this: like, you need to turn off all the crap, the social media, all the mainstream media crap. And you just need to find out more about you by spending more time, whether it's alone, and enriching your brain with fertilizer, which is positive podcasts, positive music. And then all of a sudden you're going to see a shift in your brain from toxicity to positivity. And then you could actually be more grounded to make better and wiser decisions, to get traction, to take action in your life, to be the person that you were meant to be.
That's good.
So
where do I get the book?
Yeah. So right now, just if you go to my Instagram, which is at JGRDINA04, you go to my bio and I have a link tree. And right now you can pay me PayPal or Venmo. It will be available on Amazon at the end of April.
Okay.
So right now like I said, I just got my first copy to review. I got about 10 orders of them just to verify everything looks good.
Nice.
So I've already had pre-orders. So if you order now, between March 27th till April 21st. So the first month will be pre-orders. I'll sign them. I'll send them out to you directly. And then after that, they'll be on Amazon. So if you want a signed copy from me, and I'll write a little note to you as well, that's how you would get it right now.
Yeah. And if you buy one now, I think you get a free board game, because there's one behind him.
Yeah.
I think you've got like 10 board games. So the first 10 customers get a free board game. All right. So tell us about the podcast. Where can we go? Everywhere that podcasts are, or where are you?
Yeah. So I have a podcast called The John Grdina Classroom. I mean, Spotify, Apple, Google. So they're out there. You just type in, my name. And again, I think the best way to get to everything is just go to my bio and my Instagram, and I got everything on there for you to get to it. I do have a YouTube channel. Again, it's in my link tree. Okay. So if you want to find out more about me and you want to reach out to me, just DM me. Instagram is what I usually use. So I'd be more than happy to respond to you. I'll take a call from you. I'm here to serve. And like John, I'm so appreciative of you allowing me to be on here, because I know my mission in life, and it's really simple. It's to imitate Christ and to serve him, but exhaust my gifts for the kingdom. Now I know my mission. Do you know your mission? And that's what we're all trying to get these men to do. It's to be better. And once we become better, we help so many different, it's the ripple effect. We're going to help we're going to help families. We're going to help our community, and we're going to get our country back in order. But we have to hold the line of defense against all the wickedness and doubt and deception that we get in our brain every day.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. That's why it's called Change Drivers, Better Man, Better Life. With that, he's been John Grdina. We've been Last in Line. Be blessed.